Okay, Ben.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Raechel, are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Hi, Ben.
Hey, mate.
How are you, mate?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, all right, all right. I got into indoor plants this week.
Indoor plants.
Yeah.
Green thumb.
Well, it's getting cooler outside, so I thought I would head down to Hardware Hell and purchase some indoor plants that you can tend to inside. Little did I know it went down a real wormhole. They're huge.
Yeah, there's a bit in it.
You know when you all of a sudden you decide that you've grown up enough that you need a vacuum cleaner, and so you start to Google around vacuum cleaners. Well, I did that with indoor plants, and now I can't walk into someone else's house with A, not breaking the law, and B, noticing everybody has indoor plants in their house and how they manage to keep them all alive. But
I'm not sure how up until this point, a couple of days ago, that you managed to get into other people's houses. I think that's illegal at the moment.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how up until a couple of days ago I went by without having indoor plants. Now I've got a beautiful ficus.
Oh, lovely.
A monstera, which is one of the big ones.
So tell me, what's the go with indoor plants? We don't have any. You don't water them, they just kind of take care of themselves?
No, that's the opposite. Right? They're famous for being very difficult to grow and look after, which people kill them. And I joined a few social media communities, I think I would call them, Facebook groups, where people talk about their success with indoor plants. And people spend huge money on them. And the crazy thing about them is that the more munted the indoor plant, the more money it costs. Mm-hmm. So you can have a normal indoor plant, which is like what you see in...
Like a succulent.
Your sister's bathroom, hanging from the shower kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Devil's ivy. Beautiful devil's ivy, maybe.
Devil's ivy. Okay.
Maybe a nice spider plant. But
no, this is part pub, part educational session for me. So
if it's got like white spots on it or demented leaves, like it's been bred munted. That's what it is. It's like its DNA is all stuffed up. You pay hundreds of dollars for it. So if you go into Hardware Hell, I didn't realise until I started looking into it, but there's a whole indoor plant section in most of them. Huge. There's entire shops in the main street that sell them. And the more munted they are, so the more little white dots and stuff on them, $200 for like a 30 centimetre high plant that you stick in place of your potpourri in the toilet.
How much did you spend in the end?
$250.
So you bought 1.5 plants. So you bought 45 centimetres of plant.
But for a collection. I've got a collection now. I've got one in the bathroom, two in the shower, and then one in the guest room.
Okay.
Because I have a guest room. So
yeah, well, you're very successful man.
Yeah. So my week's been really interesting. And so now I just follow all these sorts of Instagram pages of indoor plants.
God, remind me to come around. That sounds great.
Your week been good?
Well, I'm actually meant to be in Bali at the moment. You know, the land of fake Gucci slides and $2 Mai Tais.
Well aware.
Yeah, for a bucks party. Friend of the show, Benny P, was having his bucks party in Bali and is meant to be over there at the moment. Sadly not, sitting here with you.
Sorry.
But it kind of got me thinking, and you know how I work in corporate event management, so I'd usually be traveling around running events for people, and sadly that is kind of off at the moment with lack of travel and things. All those things have come to a halt, but our work put a task to us and said, is there anywhere that you'd want to go in Australia, bucket list style, that, once travel resumes, can we offer it to any of our clients? And I was thinking of like places that I really want to go, and I really want to get to Birdsville Races. Mm-hmm. You've not been to Birdsville Races, I don't think. So I'm sure
No, I've never even been to Birdsville.
No.
It's in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like a 20-hour drive from Sydney.
Yeah, in the middle.
In the middle of the middle. It's smack bang in the middle of Queensland. And
when are the races on though?
They're at the start of September.
Oh well, we might be able to go.
Yeah, maybe, and that's what it led me thinking. So I was like, well, this Bucks party's off, and I was like, well, could we swing it to Birdsville Races? So part of work I had to dig a bit deeper anyway, and you can get a plane, and you got to charter a plane. So Birdsville Races, it's in the desert. It's actually an hour and a half drive from Batuta, the town of Batuta, which is famous for the satire news, publication, I guess you'd call it. But Birdsville being so remote, people typically either drive there and take the 20-hour drive over multiple days, or they charter a plane and then they camp next to their plane on the runway. So you self-land, you just kind of camp next to your plane for the couple of days. But I got a quote for a plane for 19 people, a 19-seater plane, 40 grand return.
So
I'll do it. I'll do the maths. I've already done the maths. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, good.
$2,100 a person.
Wow.
Do you think that's worth it?
Can't you go to Bali and back 21 times for that?
Yeah, you can. That's about 19 bintang singlets, 21 pina coladas, and 14 nights accommodation and your airfare, and then that's
How crazy that it costs more to fly somewhere in Australia than it does to fly out of it.
That's chartering a plane in one of the most remote places in Oz. But I don't know. I'm really, really keen to go. So I'd kind of maybe can use the podcast forum. If we were to charter a plane, would anyone come, for one? Or two, do you know a cheaper, more time-efficient way than driving, like self-driving, to get there?
Camels.
And as well, so if you were to drive there, you got to be in a four-wheel drive. You can't just drive your little Hyundai Getz out there, Ewan. So
I've seen bush mechanics. They do. That's exactly what they cut around in.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm keen to investigate, peel back a layer, but yeah, it's either that or I don't know. It's kind of planning around when all this lifts off. Where do I really want to go? Because typically, like in work at the moment, it might be a while for international travel to come back online. But if I can get to Birdsville Races and not spend $2,100 or 40 grand, great, perfect.
How do most people get there? They drive.
They either drive or they fly their planes. They go on big coach groups. You got to have a bit of time. That's the hard thing with these bucket list places in Australia. You got to have a lot of time to get out there. You can't just, it's not just like your cheeky hour flight from Sydney to the Goldie, and then you're done with it and you kind of get on with your holiday. Part of getting there is part of the holiday, but sadly we just don't have enough time to do it. But maybe there is now, because we're not trying to get to Paris and London and stuff.
I wonder whether all of this madness will make it easier and more popular to go to places like that, because it's impossible to go to Bali for the next 12 months, for example. And so you may as well go and check out the bits of Australia that you haven't seen yet.
It's truth. Yeah, perfect.
Like West Wyalong.
Yeah, which is west of Wyalong. You been to Wyalong?
You know who'd know? I spotted over in the corner. They were playing a bit earlier. Is it Raechel Whitchurch?
Whitechurch.
Do you remember her?
I think it's Whitechurch.
Could be. She'd know. She would have been there.
She'd know. She's from out that way.
Hey, Raech.
Oh, hey, guys. I didn't see you over there.
Hey, Raech. We've been here the whole time.
I haven't seen you in ages.
We were just talking about Birdsville. You would have been there.
I have. Many, many years ago when I was a kid. So we weren't there for the races, though. We just there passing through. I think we might have had a show there, I think, when I was a kid, yeah.
Right. What's it like? Can't remember much.
Oh, look, I can't remember. We went through a lot of small towns. It's funny. There's
all the same.
Yeah. Look, they're all different, but it all kind of blurs into one after a while. But there's a great song by an Australian singer-songwriter called Colin Buchanan, and he has a song called The Birdsville Races. And so we went there because we're big Colin Buchanan fans. And so as kids, and he obviously had written a lot of songs about, small towns throughout Australia. And so when we went through there, we were more excited about the fact that we were visiting a town that Colin had written about. So, yeah, that was kind of our reason for wanting to go there. You
would have seen a lot of towns, like a lot of just crazy small little places that not many Aussies have really been out to and seen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So often, we would
we would travel like through the night, and then we'd get to the town we were going to and set up our caravan. And the next morning, us kids would be like, incredibly excited to wake up and see this new town that we were in. Every morning we'd wake up and we'd look out our little windows and we'd be like, oh, looks the same as the last one.
Yeah.
But no, it was really great.
It's just desert.
Yeah. But we were
red dirt and goats.
Because we were homeschooled. My mum and dad came up with our curriculum. As we kind of had done it for more and more years, my mum ended up making up our curriculum, and so a lot of the time we would have to do like school assignments or projects on the town, and so we'd have to find out what made that town special, and then we'd have to go and visit all of the different things in the town and ask questions of local people and make projects out of it. Yeah. Just
with that curriculum, did you, if you were living on the road, you wouldn't have had an indoor plant lesson about how to care for indoor plants? No, we didn't have
ficus.
That sounds like a rude word to me. So, and no, we did not have that.
Edisoni.
But no, we didn't have indoor plants. We just had trees. So, although I will say, I shuffled by your table earlier and in passing heard you talking about indoor plants, and I had a little laugh, Ewan, when I heard you talking about your experience with indoor plants, because it's always funny to me when I hear people who don't have kids talking about wasting their time on things like indoor. I'm like, is this what people? So, what is isolation like for people who don't have kids? Is it just like, do you just sleep a lot? Are you just useless hobbies? Like, do you actually just wake up when you feel like it? Do you have whatever you want for dinner? Like, what is it like?
It's divine.
Ben Ogden, do you hear me?
So we were discussing though, we were chatting about Ewan has a very good knack for picking up new hobbies. He's particularly good at researching the right thing to do to get into that hobby. Which is one of his skill sets. And Ewan we'll talk, he messaged me through the week and said, do you have a cordless drill? And like, well, yeah, I do. Is it, what sort do you have? And we kind of went down that path. But Ewan went and found probably the best.
It's a beauty.
Cordless drill money can buy, but he's gone and done that research. So that's the level of education Ewan needs before he makes purchase or before he goes down an endeavour. Mm-hmm. So obviously you don't know much about indoor plants. It's not really going to help Ewan out too much. But that's what people do. They don't have kids in isolation.
It's great though. It's shallow and it's lonely, and there's more than a handful of moments of desperation that there will be no legacy for the great Ewan name.
Oh God!
But apart from that, it's fantastic.
I was going to say it's probably the reason why you aren't married yet or have had any kids. You've done your research, just haven't found the best model yet, Yeah,
they don't review kids on choice.com.au. That's the
They do not.
It's actually why I've had two, and I'm like, I need to have more, because every time I have one, I'm just like, you're just like a little me, and I feel like the world needs more of me, so this just makes them more.
I was just going to remind you, I thought it wasn't because of the baby bonus, because there's no baby bonus anymore. No. You can't just
get a new flat screen telly each time you have one.
No, so that's I was gonna say, if you're waiting for that check to come in, it's not. No. So
the bonus is the love in your heart, Ben.
I just assumed that you have more. You have one, and you just wonder whether another one would be better. The first one is cool. It knows a couple of words, whatever. Yeah. But if I bring it back to indoor plant speak, it's not variegated. It doesn't have that something special to it. So if we try again, I might get the one that has the white leaves.
And I feel like Ben Ogden's kid is pretty cute. So maybe that's why they've only had one. Maybe he was just like, we did it. We had the jackpot.
No,
one kid, that's all we need.
Didn't need another one. Yeah. It's not variegated though.
Then again, could do a bit of copy-paste work. We could roll that dice and see what the next one might come out like.
Well, both my kids have got my bad attitude. So,
Rach, can you...
Hey, sorry, you guys are going to cut this, I assume. I just need to tell you that my computer screen says remaining meeting time 5 minutes, 51 seconds.
Yeah, it's last drinks in 5 minutes, but Ben knows the guy behind the bar, and he's agreed to let us stay here a bit later.
I didn't know if that was because I'm a free version of Zoom, so I was like, I don't know what that means. So,
well, we're all on a free version of Zoom. If it does cut out, Rach, we'll just have to start another meeting and
yeah, cool. All right, all good. Sorry to cut you off. Continue.
That's all right. Ewan, Raechel had a song on the radio just recently.
I heard it. I heard it on the radio the other day. But crazy time to be putting new music out. Worst time. Worst time. And now you end up playing in dingy places like this.
Hey, this is the first interview request I've had in months. I'm joking.
Joke.
No, look, it is obviously, didn't plan for there to be a pandemic happening when I started releasing songs from my new record. But in a way, for a couple of weeks when it all kind of kicked off, I remember because Friday, 13th of March, Ben and I went out for dinner because it was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So Ben is my husband. So
Ben.
Yeah, Ben, not Ben Ogden, Ben Whitchurch, my husband. So we went out for dinner on Friday 13th. And then I think it was the very next week that they shut everything down. And so I remember talking with, my husband about everything that was going on. And the next week, the 20th, was when my first single came out, which is called I Found Home. And I started talking with him about it and with my publicist about it. And, I think what could have been like a really, it is hard, obviously, but also in a way, people are more and more engaged, I think, with, things that are happening online. People are stuck at home. And I think also people are excited about new music because they've got more time to listen. They're working from home a lot. And so the response to my first single has actually been really, really positive. And even just like my plays on, Spotify and Apple Music and things like that have just exceeded what I thought they would. And so I don't know.
And you get about $5 a play?
Yeah, $5 per million plays, you mean?
Right.
Hey, well, we love the song. We were talking about it before. We genuinely really, really like the song.
And normally I don't go for country music that doesn't have tractor references in it, but this one is different. It's good.
Well, I'm singing about a tractor, so you didn't get that.
If you re-listen to it, it kind of could be about a tractor, couldn't it? It makes me feel happy coming home remembering that you're mine, John Deere.
It could be about anything that that you love that makes you feel like you found home. You want it, if it's a tractor for you, then that's what it is.
Not sponsored, of course, but thanks, John Deere, for looking after the
exactly.
the land.
Yeah. No, it's it's definitely like I am a country music artist, and it's funny when I was thinking about how to present myself. I think country music in Australia is very different to country music in America because the country music industry in America, I think, is bigger than our normal music industry, like our mainstream music industry in Australia. So there's a lot more space for it. And I think in Australia, it still has this sort of stigma attached to it, around being like moderately uncool and out of touch with the rest of the world. And I think all jokes aside, the songs about tractors and that sort of thing, like, it's fine if that's your world. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that's where you're living and that's what you're doing, then that makes sense for you to write a song about that. But I'm living in Sydney right now. It's not relevant to me in my life right now. And so I think country music has always been about storytelling and trying to make people, put themselves in your shoes and kind of see, connect with an idea, a story that you're trying to tell. And so even though I am a country music artist, I went backwards and forwards of, should I market my album as an alt country record or like a more folk record or like an indie, like what should I market it as? And I just came back to the idea that I said, do you know what? I love country music, and I think that country music encompasses a variety of genres within that country sphere, and I just want to call myself a country artist because that's the music that I play. And I think the more people that do that, people will start to realize that country music is, it's broader than just this, this very small idea, of, songs about, dogs dying, wife crying, hard times on the bottle.
So what makes country music in Australia country music then? If it's not that American idea of twangy guitars and singing about tractors and how drunk you got last night and your mate got you out of a ditch after you rolled your ute, what makes your new album country music and not indie or folk or even pop?
I mean, I think it's a hard question because I think people want to box it in, and if I say this is what makes country music country, then there's other artists out there that may be like, well, hey, I'm a country artist and I don't fit into that box. But I think for me, I think that the musicianship and the instrumentation will often, focus in on, more country style instruments. And so, my new single, features like acoustic guitars and, there's a banjo in it and things like that. Maybe they're not played in, the standard way a country song would use them, but it has that element where you consider instrumentation that is, derived, I guess, of country music origins. But I also think,
but where is the stick with the bottle caps on it? Where has that gone in modern country music then?
That's in my next single.
Oh, good.
No, and I think that exists. I don't know that specifically, but
Birdsville Races, you'll find
that's
that.
Right, Birdsville Races. There are, very traditional artists that do that as well. But I think the thing that ties them all together, in my opinion, is the storytelling. I think country music has always been about storytelling, and I think that a lot of pop music doesn't do that, and that's when, you listen to your songs and you just know that it's been written in a room with 20 people there who are just writing a song to make it a hit, which is, once again, that's not bad. That just is what it is. That's just not the music that I make. But I think, I would say storytelling is the thing that kind of ties country music all together.
When you're songwriting, do you get a huge kick when you manage to make something rhyme? Like I was listening to I Found Home earlier today, and it's like I was alone, but now I've found home. And I was like, I reckon she would have got a real kick when she wrote that, going,
nailed
perfect.
It.
When you find that rhyme, do you just go, got it, and I've got to make it work?
I mean, look.
Fuck.
Maybe not that one because that's very elementary. But I know what you mean. I think with rhyming, I don't know, once again, this is just my experience. I think often you're looking for something that doesn't sound like, well, of course she rhymed it with that. You hear someone write a song where the rhyme, it's always world, girl and world. Do you know what I mean? They always write, that's a classic rhyme that everyone always uses. But I think the thing for me with songwriting that I really do get a kick out of is when I can hear something in my head and I know what I'm trying to articulate. And so often for me, especially as an example with this song, the bridge of this song was really important to me. And so I knew what I was trying to communicate in that bridge. And I kind of couldn't see the words yet, but I knew how I wanted it to progress and how I wanted to make the listener feel. And so I think that when I get that bridge right, or when I play it and I'm like, oh, I feel the feeling that I wanted the listener to feel, I think that's the sort of thing that really makes me feel good as a songwriter. So I think it's just, once again, making sure that the listener's coming along with you on that journey of the story you're trying to tell.
It's called a Lagerphone.
What?
A monkey stick.
Oh my gosh.
A Lagerphone. Oh god.
That's what I was just looking it up. That's what the stick with the bottle caps is called.
Do you know what I love? I love it when Ewan's asking me a question and he's Googling Lagerphones instead of listening to my answer.
I can do both.
It wouldn't be called a Lagerphone now, Ewan. It'd be in the world of...
It's called a monkey stick.
Well, it's in the world of craft beer, it would be called a Pink Galah Lemonade Souraphone.
That's
or
true.
Something like that. A double IPA phone.
Well, would if you wanted, your Triple J listeners to play it, that's for sure. Maybe it's still called a Lagerphone in country music.
And obviously your husband, Ben, friend of the show, often performs with you.
Yes.
Well, performs with you all the time now.
Yes.
Maybe you can get him we can make him one. We'll make him one and we'll send it over to you guys, and it'd be great to see it on stage.
I can't help but feel that they've gone the way of the wobble board, though. You just don't see them anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. Can you say wobble board these days, Jan?
I don't even know what a wobble board is.
You won't be able to go to the pub because the pub is shut. That doesn't mean you can have all your mates round to home and get on the beers. That's not appropriate.
So, Rach, you have you've got a new single, but you've got an album that's tied to that single. When does that come out?
So we don't have an exact release date for the record yet, just because, we did, but then we've kind of moved it all back a little bit, back and forward. I'm not sure which way you say it. We've moved it further into the year, just because of obviously everything that's going on. Also, do you guys love how no one actually it's like the virus that must not be named. We're always just like, because of what's happening, because of the crazy things that are going on in the world. I don't know if you guys do that, but I do it all the time. I'm like, I don't want to physically say it.
We say it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
SARS-CoV-2, is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's the one, but I definitely don't call it that.
Oh.
But anyway, because of everything that's happening, we've pushed the album release further in the year, but I'll have a couple more singles out before it comes out, which is really fun.
Do you have a vague date with the release of the album?
The record?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with my team that I'm working with, we're looking at August.
Okay, cool. So you can,
so still a while away.
You can buy it on pre-sale now. You and I have both. I don't know if you've seen it come through the funnels, but
I've seen.
Awesome, good.
Yes, so everyone who pre-sales the record. So a lot of artists have been doing, like these online shows, and I've kind of held off from doing one so far because I actually wanted to do something special for everyone who pre-ordered my record. And so in June, I'm going to be having. It'll be my only online show really that's happened since this whole thing started. So yeah, which is crazy because, they've just announced that, even with this new 3-step plan they're rolling out, venues still won't, even when it come July, they'll still be limited to 100 people, in venues, which really means that music still won't be happening by then, which is sad times. But yeah, so I'm excited to do that for everyone who pre-sales the record because I just thought it'd be nice to showcase all the songs on my new album. And that's cool as well because no one would have heard the songs before, and so I'll be playing them all on that show. But yeah, it's funny, like I wasn't going to release the album for pre-sale so early. But then I thought, like people kept messaging me, like friends keep reaching out, and people on, my socials kept saying, how can we support you in this time? And, I'm a new artist. I don't have a bunch of merch. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to release my album for pre-sale. Like, people don't, they don't know what it's called. They don't have the front cover. They don't know the track listing. They know nothing. And yet so many people, like so many more than I expected, went and pre-saled the record. And like, that's like awesome because like, that's, money that feeds my family, like that's, that's gig money.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like this weekend, awesome. I was saying to Ben, this weekend I was meant to be on the road opening up for Wendy Matthews all weekend. And so, things like that, just income that musicians, have been expecting obviously isn't coming right now. So yeah, so it's a hard time, but you just can be positive and just do what you can. So I'm just grateful for everyone who's helped out by pre-selling the album. I
feel like there should be an option where you can get it as vinyl or you get it as the CD, but with a CD player for modern people like myself. Listen, I appreciate your suggestions. And my husband even said to me the other day, you should offer vinyl. And I was like, yeah, but like, do I have any fans that are that committed? But now that I know that you are, I'm going to be offering it. Maybe I'll go and investigate vinyl.
And Rach, just a little bit of background on that because you've hit the nail on the head. Before the lockdown, I went to Ewan's house and he's got quite a lovely home, and I haven't seen it since it's old Green Thumb's been through it. But he's done a bit of research as well. Choice.com.au, not sponsored, but through record players and vinyl. So Ewan's got quite a vinyl collection, no record player, which is fucking mind-blowing to me, but for some reason. So if you released it on vinyl, yeah, sure, Ewan will do it. He'll buy it.
Wow. He won't play it though, just put it on his shelf.
Yeah, just to look at.
Yeah, they're just to look at more than anything. Well, I think if you've ever looked into record players, they're very expensive. But,
so we have a record player. It's not within our house right now, but we have a record player, but I think I was given to us and it was free.
There you go. Oh, we'll have a listening party. You and 10 people listening party.
I also think that you've promised for everyone who pre-orders or pre-sales your album, Rach, that you've promised to write a handwritten personal note to them.
I have.
Have you bitten off more than you can chew?
I'm starting to think I have. But listen, I'm going to do it. Do you know why? Because I am that happy and that grateful that everyone has purchased my record. Honestly, I was so nervous. Like I was like, is anyone even going to buy this record? Do people even care? It's funny in all my marketing material because you got to create all this marketing. It's just what you have to do. You got to create the hype or whatever. And all my marketing material says, the new single from her highly anticipated debut album. And I was like, when I read it, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like even anticipated, like let alone highly anticipated.
Can you guarantee at this point in time that you won't be relying on like blanket statements like, Hi, thanks for your support. Love, Rach.
No, I will not. That's not who I am as a person. No.
What about if you don't know the person who's bought it, though? How do you write them a personal note?
Well, listen, I'm a bit of a Facebook stalker. So there's a lot of people who've bought it that I don't know. And I'm not going to lie, I've emailed some of them and said, thank you so much for pre-ordering my album. Can I ask, how do you know me?
Oh.
So I ditched this guy the other day because he was from Switzerland?
Don't know.
Switzerland.
Yeah, that's a place.
And he's a country music fan. No, I was just trying to remember if that was the one because I've had a few international orders, but I've had a few international orders.
Big time.
But I reached out to him. He commented on a few things and I sent him a message on Facebook because he's, likes my Facebook. And I said to him, can I ask, how you heard of, my music, whatever? And he is a fan of the guy who produced my EP, 4 years ago. And he followed me through following this other guy. And then I'd been on tour with this other guy. And, so anyway, just random connections. Awesome. But so in answer to your question, Ewan, no, I do my research, buddy. So these won't be just, boring handwritten.
Free international shipping, Rach, for that record?
It's actually not free international shipping. It's free local shipping.
Okay, so all of our Tasmanian listeners, sorry, you'll have to pay full rate.
All that what? Isn't Tasmania a part of Australia?
It's just a gag. It's just it's a poor joke. Right. I know it's in Australia. Don't worry.
Oh, I was just checking. I was like, I'm homeschooled and I know that.
So, Rach, can I just fire a few questions at you?
Is this a fast round?
It's been. Sorry, Ewan?
Is this a fast round?
Oh, it can be. No, just a few questions. You can be as elaborate as you want.
Listen, guys. I understand what's happening here. I'm talking too much and you need me to just slow it down a little bit, like take it back 20%. I understand.
No. So on, and obviously, there's been many years since then, but you were in the top 24 of Australian Idol in 2006.
Yes, that's true.
Is that right? That's right, isn't it? Yeah, 2006. So was Osher, the king of television, Gunsberg, was he Osher or was he Andrew G then?
I was just about to say, who the heck is Osher? But yes, Andrew G was the guy on the show. Yes.
You don't watch The Bachelor, BIP, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelorette, don't watch any of that?
Yeah, no, I've got a life and a business.
Beyond that.
So you don't know who Osher is and you don't know who Rolf Harris is?
Oh, I know who Rolf Harris is, sadly.
Oh, then you should know the wobble board.
Yeah.
I still don't, but okay.
Tiny kangaroo down spot. Hey, so you met Osher, Andrew G. You met Andrew G.
Yes.
And you met, so who was your preference out of Andrew G and James Matheson?
Oh, I mean,
I thought they were the same person.
They're two very different people.
Could I just say I can't pick a favourite because my feelings on both of them is exactly the same, and it's that I don't have feelings.
Yeah, I guess that's
I'm so sorry. I think that with the show is that you actually don't get to spend that much time with the people, like the hosts and judges. They make it seem like you have much more of a connection with them than you actually do. And so, sometimes.
Who were the hosts?
Oh, they were the hosts. Andrew G. Andrew G.
Judges.
Oh, no. Sorry. Who are the judges? Oh,
the judges. Kyle Sanderlands.
Friend of the show.
Mark Holden and Marsha Hines.
Marsha, friend of the show. Don't know who Mark Holden is.
Mark Holden actually got me my first distribution deal with MGM distributors.
That's good of him.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I was going to ask, would you do it again in hindsight? But it sounds like yes, considering.
No, it's a definite no. It's a definite no for me.
But you would have never got that deal.
Listen. I feel like. I even hate talking about it. It's funny. I have a lot of feelings about the show, and it's really difficult. You got to understand. When I went on the show, I was 18 years old. I was so young, and I think that unfortunately, what the show does for a lot of artists is makes it feel like this is their only shot at music, and I think it probably contributed to my slow decline of not loving music anymore. And so. I don't know if you saw, there was on one of those singing shows recently, there was a girl who went on, a woman, and she's the front woman of a band called Little Birdie.
Katie Steele.
Mm.
She actually went on the show because of Katie. I feel like it was Katie Steele. I should Google it actually. Maybe it wasn't Katie Steele. No, I might have it wrong. I have the wrong name.
It's all right. This isn't Spicks and Specs.
Oh, anyway, she's someone like that. I have to look up her name in a second. But anyway, quite a well-known Australian artist. And she went on, it's one of those chair turning ones. And they didn't turn around for her.
Yeah, really.
And there's nothing more awkward than heartbreaking to watch. And just like, so like, I just think for so many people, like, I personally feel like music isn't a competition, and I know that everything in our world sets everything up and we have to have some way to measure it or whatever. I have a song on my record all about this topic, actually quite a funny song, but like, an upbeat sort of song. But I just think that it's not like, we shouldn't be like kind of put against each other that way. And I think it does more damage than it does good. And at the end of the day, someone might not like my music, and that's okay. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there's other people who will. And so I don't know, like, I just feel like it does more harm than it's good. So,
I mean, that kind of answers my next question. But do you think Shannon Noll was robbed?
Shannon Noll was robbed. For a second, I thought I was going to make a bad joke, and I held it in.
No, not like someone pickpocketed.
Yeah, Shannon Noll was 100% robbed. The country kid always loses, don't you reckon? That's right.
Yeah. A bit of trivia. Shannon Noll voted my cover band back when I was in high school third in a Battle of the Bands competition in Condobolin.
Really?
Third.
That's all right. And do you know who actually won, I think? She was extremely young at the time, played in a band with her sisters, is
Katie Steele.
Celia Pavey, not Katie, Celia Pavey, who was, what's her name? Ewan?
The comedian?
No.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Vera Blue. Vera Blue.
Vera Blue, yes.
Oh, from Forbes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, from Forbes.
Yeah.
So I think they won. But that's, that's my little bit. But, apparently he had a call centre. He had a call centre operating out of Forbes, people to call in to vote for Shannon to win.
Really?
And sadly, Guy got the trophy.
Yeah, right.
If Flume emailed you, Rach, or any kind of electronic dance music producer and said, I really like your voice, could you sample for my next song, would you do it?
Oh, I'd 100% do it. I've actually had someone approach me about it already. No one like Flume. But I love that sort of thing. I think it's so cool. I think like the mashing of like different worlds is actually really cool. And I think that it creates, like, I think when two artists come together that, come from completely different musical backgrounds, I think that's when like the boundaries are pushed of music, and that's where, new styles and genres like kind of come from. Do you know what I mean? Like, who would have ever, like, that's literally Mumford and Sons, remember when they came out and they were so groundbreaking because it was like this weird rock country thing happening. Like, I think the meshing of genres is super incredible. And I think that people who get stuck in their musical ruts, like, I don't know. I just don't think they they're not open to growing and changing. Yeah. It's too scary for them. But I love the idea of for me, I'll always be a country artist, I think. I shouldn't say that, but I feel strongly that that's just who I am. But I love the possibilities of working with other artists who have, different genres to me. So
can I ask just...
Did that surprise you, Ewan? Did that answer surprise you? Because you looked a little shocked.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
No, He's a hardened radio warrior, Ewan. He's been on the airwaves for quite some time. Rach, just one thing can I ask? So back to Idol, and I'm not going to harp on it after this.
It's fine. You can harp on all day long. I don't mind.
No. I don't want to. But so my wife Astrid and I came and saw you play at that venue, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of what it's called.
Lizottes.
This is like Spicks and Specs today.
Is it? Why?
It's just all of these musical references that we're having to try and guess.
Yeah, do you like what I did there with the Lizottes? Tip of my tongue, diesel reference. It was subtle, but for those of you that might be listening from home, might have got it.
No, that's my wobble board, unfortunately. I don't know that one.
So, Rach, I noticed, we went and you were supporting Wendy Matthews, and we had terrible seats, but that's not the issue. I've already written a complaint to Lizottes about.
I mean, you bought the tickets on the day of and they were the only seats available, so I don't know what to tell you.
No, I didn't. We didn't. We just didn't have the... Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
couldn't see through the Akubras.
Yeah, we couldn't see through the Akubras or the cheese
platters. That is the worst thing about going to country music concerts is all the people that wear Akubras and you can't see properly They all stand there in front. Everybody's got a hat on. It's like everybody in the crowd feels okay to bring an umbrella all of a sudden.
Should we tell Ewan that when he makes is not a country artist?
Yeah, when
there were Noah Cooper's there.
Oh.
No, and it was a theatre, Ewan. So Lizottes is a very unique venue. It's like a cabaret, not cabaret like show, but it's like they do a
sit-down meal and
sit-down meal, and then you kind of
it's one of the I think it's like the number one restaurant in New South Wales, like a bunch of times. It's owned by a guy called Mark Lizotte, who is Diesel's brother. So Diesel appears there a lot. It's actually so it was the first time I'd played there, and it was something that was on like my bucket list to do because it's such a renowned venue. So here we are educating you, Ewan, on all things you need to know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for hours educating Ewan. But what I was going to say, Rach, you play with the guitar. We've seen you play quite a lot, and you always have a guitar with you, right? And obviously, you're very comfortable playing the guitar. There's probably, would you say, you very rarely not have the guitar? Would you ever put the guitar down?
Not normally, because I usually play by myself, so just be me doing a cappella. But even when I have a band, yeah.
So on Idol, so Ewan and I went back and watched your Idol video of you performing Dumb Things, Paul Kelly, and you don't have a guitar in the video, but there's a point in the song where you kind of take the microphone off the stand and you start roving around the stand, around the stage.
I know the point well.
Now, I noticed you didn't do that so much in Lizottes. That didn't happen, and I was kind of waiting for it, and I was just wondering, have you given much thought to your microphone technique kind of since then? And maybe you will after this.
Yeah.
Chat.
Look, I can't figure out right now. I think you're half mocking me, so I'm not sure.
No, I'm not mocking you. I was just thinking because like there's artists like Mick Jagger, right? And he's like kind of wraps the cord around his hand and he's kind of mincing about the stage. And then you've got like, Freddie Mercury back in the day, and he's kind of marching with the microphone stand, that half microphone stand, pumping it to his chest and stuff. But a bit like Daryl Braithwaite does, actually, if you've seen Dazza play. Very different artists, him and Fred. But, I don't know. Was that a thing in Idol that they were kind of like, you have to pick the microphone, you have to start roaming around?
Yeah, so that was something that they made you do that. So I obviously would have preferred to play with an instrument back in those days. I think maybe towards the end they started allowing people to do that, and they will now in all those other reality shows. But back then, what
was their stance on Lagerphones? Do you remember?
Well, I asked them about that, and they said it would be too distracting. And I was like, and me roaming around the stage like this isn't distracting.
If you and I were to make a Lagerphone, maybe two of them, could we come and help you open up when shows go back on? Maybe we stand to the side with our cork hats and Lagerphones. Yeah,
you can. Well, you can't play in my set, but you can definitely be a support act if you'd like. I think that a lot of people would come to see that.
No, I don't know if it would stand on its own though. Just a couple of blokes with a Lagerphone.
No,
but that's what would make it so amazing, is that it wouldn't stand on its own, and people would want to watch it not stand on its own.
But there'd be people that'd be like, wow, I'm pretty sure those are the two guys from the Counter Lunch podcast.
Yes.
And I think that would, I mean, you're an accomplished artist in your own right, but that would probably help, we could get our fan base, which is quite strong, to your shows. And maybe when you do go back playing live.
I would love that.
Perfect. And that's pretty much locked in, I'd say.
Let's lock it in.
Yeah, I think it's done.
For my album launch tour, let's do it. You guys can open up. I was actually thinking maybe you could do a combination of Lagerphone and a bit of stand-up comedy. So I don't know, or maybe interviews with like random people on stage. Let's just chat, guys. Let's figure it out.
No, I've got it. I get a Lagerphone, a monkey stick on one side of the stage, and I mix it up. I bash it on the floor, I bash it on the ceiling, I bash it on the wall. Yep. Ben, in the opposite corner of the stage, wobble board.
I fucking knew it. I knew it when you were setting it up. No, I'm not a wobble board guy.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so I'm going to be Googling this wobble board ring off the phone. I feel like it's going to lead to bad results.
Well, okay, here's the kicker, right? This is the thing. The wobble board is famous. Hang on,
listen, just before we start talking about this wobble board situation, is this family friendly? Because I do want to promote this to my fans.
Yeah, we just won't say the next, but yeah, wobble board was played by Rolf Harris, Tommy
Right.
Kangaroo Downs.
It was his famous.
said.
It was a very famous Australian instrument, much like the monkey stick, but
Okay.
has disappeared in modern day music these days.
Right.
Probably because of who played it, to
Right.
be honest with you. But
Right.
also, it just doesn't. It just doesn't have that sound that many musicians are able to write to. It seems.
Yeah, sounds challenging. Sounds challenging.
Oh, what's going on here?
This
What
is
are
Wow. Was that someone telling us the bar's closing? Oh, no, that was a Lagerphone. Right.
Oh, that's a Lagerphone. That was the last call.
Rach, thanks so much. Catch up with you soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys soon.
And Ben, I got to go and miss the ficus.
My man. Yeah.
not the hit on the stair.
Oh, put a fork in me. I'm done.
You come a waltzing Matilda with me. Oi!